Welcome everyone to another Wednesday night, the fundamentals to gain inner peace with your host, Coach Menachem. We're doing tonight class number 90. For Hashem. And again, the recordings, if it's the first time you're here, welcome. The recordings are available on menachembernfeld.com. All the 89 past recordings. And you can catch up, come along on the journey. Don't try to do it all in one night. And question, feedback, you can always send coachmenachem@gmail.com. If you want to join the notification email, let me know. Send me an email and we'll add you to the list. Okay, so let's get grounded. Take a deep breath and become aware of where I am. Make yourself comfortable. This is just taking some time off for yourself from your busy week, your busy day, a lot going on. Some time to just sit, breathe, and be. Become aware of your surroundings, become aware of where you are. And then we turn it inwards to become aware of how do I feel, my body inside. I feel stressed or relaxed, calm, or I haven't felt in a while. Just to feel what our body feels. Because it is connected. Our mind and our body, the way we think is the way we feel. So if you're overwhelmed, where do you feel it in your body? If you're stressed, where do you feel it? So tonight we're going to be focusing on shifting our focus from challenge to growth. And to do it in a half hour, we're going to discuss just the basics. And if you're with us on this journey, so a lot of it you know already. And so let's get started. Challenges. When you hear the word challenges, there are many different levels. There can be big ones, there can be small ones. I'm going to try to focus on smaller ones. But a challenge can mean when things are not working the way you wanted to. Just, you had a plan, it didn't work out, that's a challenge. What does it make you feel? Now, the big ones could be health issues, financial issues, relationships, or the person is just always in a bad mood, things are not working out. So it's important to know where we are with our challenges, before discussing how to change that focus, how to change the way we feel. Like we always say, usually the way you feel comes from a thought. And you can track it down. If you're not in a good mood, if you can stop and think for a moment, what are those thoughts that are making you feel this way? Maybe it's a thought that's going to say it's not going to work out, whatever it is, or I'm not capable. Sometimes it goes very deep. So when we focus on negative thoughts, you're going to feel that way. And all we have to do is change it. Not that easy. But first we have to realize it's a thought and you're probably focusing on it. It's probably going on and on in your mind like a tape recorder, but not always is it something that you're aware of. But just by seeing, what am I feeling? Do I feel something negative? Do I feel down? It's probably a thought. Now, the worst thing to tell somebody else when they're going through a challenge is to tell them, Hashem is giving it to you for you to grow, And you're gonna just have to learn how to turn it around from a challenge to growth. And that's not something you tell somebody that's going through a challenge. It's just what we're doing tonight is a discussion. I'm not here to tell you either. Just to discuss, to realize how we take the challenge, what our perspective is. How is it easy to change? Not at all. But it's something to think about. The next ideas we discussed is many of us know the grief, dabda. Like we discussed many times, if you're going to go right away, you have a challenge, something comes up, and right away you'll say, oh, this is for my growth. Sometimes it could be just in denial, like what we discussed many times. So dabda stands for denial. The A is anger. B is for bargaining. And D is depression. And then is the last A is acceptance. So it's a grief process. And many times you want to run when something happens right away to that acceptance. It's okay, I'll work it out. I'm going to grow from this. This is what Hashem wants. And it's possible that it's running to acceptance because it's too hard to see what's going on, to face reality. So that's denial. That's the first D, and it's normal. It's important to remember it's normal. Wherever you are in the cycle, it's okay. So to run right away to acceptance, that's not what we're looking for. And the way I think to talk about this in a practical way is talk about somebody who has a chronic disease, somebody who's going through something very long. It's not a one-time thing. Something, let's say you have pain somewhere, maybe back pain or pain in your body, chronic disease, things are not working out that well. And it's hard. And it's for a long time. You don't see the way out. So you can be going through this whole, the grief process back and forth. One day you feel better, the other ways worse, and there's ups and downs. But after a while, after going through this process and having pain and feeling anger and maybe depression and back and forth and maybe running away from it, and it's okay to run away, even though we speak a lot about facing your pain, facing the moment, that's eventually. It could be the coping mechanism that it's too hard for your body to sit and face the reality. So it's going to go to denial. And I'm not going to take you away from there because there's a reason why you're running to there, why you're running to that space, because it's too hard. And this process is a human process. We go from one to the other. So it might be you're running away and you're in denial, and there's a reason why you're there. But if somebody has this for a very long time, after a while, going through this process, you can come to a place where a little bit of acceptance. That means after maybe feeling depression, somebody feels, where is this going? It's so painful. It's every day, and I can't continue. And you could be had it already for years. And you felt that depression. You weren't running away from it. And then you get to a place of acceptance. Only then can we change. Can we go from a challenge to a growth? That's when we start growing and seeing, okay, so what could I do? Maybe I can't do everything, it's too painful, but what could I do? Or my perspective till now was, I'm doomed. Life is just black, dark, there's no positivity. But maybe I could find something positive. Maybe I could change the way I think. So again, it's after letting ourselves being in that process, understanding what's going on. And after a while, It's not running to denial by saying, you know what, I'll focus on the positive. I'll just focus on the positive. I don't want to focus on the negative. No, you've been in touch with the negative. You've seen the negative. You've felt it. You know, there were days that you couldn't get out of bed. You're not running away from it. It's there. And after a while, you can get to a place of acceptance. And that's when we go from a challenge to a growth. You can grow and slowly realize, you know, what are my thoughts? Why am I thinking this way? Maybe I can challenge, I can question my thoughts, and slowly we can grow. So again, what we focus on is what we feel. So if you want to know what you're focusing on, just stop for a moment and ask yourself, how do I feel? If you're in a negative place, low mood, you don't like it, you don't like the way you feel, stop for a moment and think, what's the thought behind it? Why do I feel this way? And then we can reframe. Like a lot of it is black and white thinking. You know, if I'm in pain, it's not working out. That means everything is nothing is working out. It's I'm just a failure. It's never gonna work. So that could be black and white thinking. We have to go into the gray a little bit. There are some possibilities. There is some positivity slowly. But if you feel a negative mood, what's that thought? So you can think about something, a challenge that you're going through, something that's hard. Doesn't have to be something big. And look at it. And what does that make you feel when you think about the challenge? And then try to think, what's the thought behind it? What's making me feel this way? Maybe it's telling me I won't be able to handle this. I can't handle this. I just can't. I'm too weak. I don't have courage. Or more general, nobody cares about me. I'm all alone. I have to do this all by myself. Even more general, I'm not good enough. This is what my life is all about. Or maybe I'm a failure. I don't deserve to feel happy. So these thoughts are going to make you feel a certain way. And when you feel this way, just to go back to see what's that thought. Many times it just boils down to one basic thought of I don't deserve. And I'm not taking care of myself. That's why I feel this way. And you know, blaming yourself. And then eventually we have to find what's that reframe the thought and say, wait a second. What could I think instead of I'm not good enough? How could I change that? Maybe you can find something in the past that worked out. A challenge that you went through in the past and it worked out. You managed. So you can write it down and focus on that. So you're focusing on a little bit of positivity. By focusing on that, it's going to change from feeling I'm not good enough to say sometimes it works out. And to take it in and to feel it. Okay, we're going to focus on small steps, but that's the idea. The idea is to become aware of what is it? What's the thought behind my feeling? What's the challenge I'm going through in my life? What is it that's holding me back? Why do I feel this negative? What's that thought? Sometimes it can be about the world around you. There's so much pain, or the world is just a dangerous place. So many bad things are happening. Or the thought of life is just so unfair. It's just out of my control. There's nothing I can do. I can't do anything about it. Good things don't last. You see how that the brain doesn't let you sit with good things. And even if there are some positive, it doesn't last. It's negative. I can't control it. Life is just unfair. So that's a way of thinking. And if you think that way, you will feel that way. Many times it's hard to trace what's that thought. But eventually we can trace it by journaling, we can look at it. But the first to realize what's my focus, what am I feeling, and then what am I focusing on? If I feel negative, I'm probably focusing on something negative. It could be one thought that's going in your mind again and again, over and over. And if you're new to this journey, for this process, it might take time to hear the voice, to hear that negative thoughts. But eventually we want to be clear of what the thought is. And it might be very general. It might say, I am a failure. Even though you're not thinking, and you're like, I'm not thinking I'm a failure. But all the negative thoughts and constantly thinking of negative, it could be coming from places it's saying, I am just not capable. I've tried many times, nothing worked. It could be that basic. And then we write it down. You like blow it up. You have to become clear. What's that thought? And then we can see, how do we reframe the thoughts? How can I say it in a positive way? Find some positivity. So if you think the world is a bad place, maybe it's the news you're listening to. Maybe there's something you can do to stop. Start making a list of the things that you do that you enjoy, so that when you do find a few small things that you enjoy in your day, then the world is a dangerous place becomes a little bit lighter. You're having a good time, you're enjoying yourself. It's not that dangerous. You can slowly move that thought. Another idea is basic, like gratitude, like we discussed many times. Finding something that you're grateful for and sit with it. That automatically will change the way you feel. And if you've tried it, experienced it, it works. Sometimes your mind might say it's not real. You're just telling yourself that you feel good. So in the beginning, it doesn't like when you do it. But if you continue doing it again and again, you write 2 things every day that you're grateful for. Just practicing gratitude changes the way you feel. It's going to change the way you think and the way you feel about yourself and about the world around you. So basically, taking a challenge, and again, not right away. And if you feel you have to do it right away, that's fine, even though it might be denial. Again, it's a process, and if you're in denial, then you're in denial. People think, let me tell the other person they're in denial because, they have to face the challenges. But wait a second, there's a process, there's a grief process for a reason. So if they're in that space of denial, that's where they have to be now. Eventually they'll get to a place of anger. They'll start feeling their emotions, maybe expressing their emotions. You might not like the way it looks, but again, that's part of the process. And then they can't get out of bed. And you're like, oh yeah, we have to go fast to that acceptance, teach them how to accept, teach them how to change, to think positive. But wait a second. You can't teach them anything. This is part of the process, and maybe now they're in a place where they feel depression. And like I mentioned many times, again, if you find yourself in bed for many days and weeks, go find a therapist, find a doctor. You might need some help. You can't do this by yourself. But I'm talking about challenges. Let's focus on the smaller things that are not working out. You don't like it, and you're trying to fight it. It's making you in a bad mood. So facing reality and saying it's not working out. And then you feel that depression. It's hard to get out of bed. And after that, you can get to a place where, okay, let me try to think, what's my thought behind it? That's when you can do it. Find that thought. And then you realize the thought is that it's never going to work, that I am a failure. And you can tell yourself, wait a second, is that true? Maybe I could try again. There are many things that I did and I managed. So we can change the thoughts. So it's becoming aware of the negative thoughts, seeing how I can change it to a positive thoughts. Now, here comes the main parts. Now, we discussed affirmations many times, but a lot of people don't feel it makes a difference. So that's where meditation comes in, and that's where relaxation comes in, which we discussed many times. To make that change, just in a cognitive place, in a logic place, is very nice. You're going to get off tonight and you'll say very interesting from something negative to go to something positive, and then you're good. It's an amazing concept, but I wish it would be that easy. And many times you're thinking the negative concept for a while. They can be very deep beliefs about yourself. It's a deep belief that you have. It might be many years that you're thinking that the world is a bad place, and that this is how you're walking around every day, worried and always in a negative mood. So you want to change that just by telling yourself, well, wait a second, there are certain things in my life that I enjoy. You're going to find yourself back into that negative place. It doesn't go so fast. So it does take time. It does take time to change our pattern, the way we think. But the main thing is to continue. Because if after a week you'll say, I tried, and it doesn't work, then you're going to stop. And if you stop, you know where you're going, right back to the same old. We want to go to something new, to that growth. So continue. And for that, we need some patience, self-compassion. And the main thing is to believe that change is possible. And you can ask yourself this question: do you believe that we can change? I don't know your age, no matter how old you are, 20, 30, 40, or 70, 80, 90. Wherever you are, do you believe that you can change? And that's a belief. If your belief is that you can't change, you're probably not sitting here. But if we're on this journey, hopefully your belief is that, yes, we can change the way we think. And automatically things will change. So that's a belief. We should believe that it's possible, and I'm doing the work, taking small steps. The best time to do these relaxation, meditation, really the best time to try to change the way you think is in the morning and at night. So we discussed it many times, and I believe it was class number 1, the brain waves, the cycle of brain waves. So it goes from beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Beta is when you're awake, when you're busy doing things. Alpha is more relaxed. Then there's theta and delta is sleeping and deep sleep. So when you're waking up in the morning, you're coming out from theta, and you're going into alpha, and slowly becoming beta, becoming busy. So before you pick up the phone in the morning, before you look at all the things on your list to-do list, you're still in a relaxed place. Right away, wake up in the morning, you can start telling yourself these positive thoughts. I'm in a good place. I am capable. And if you're thinking of a specific challenge, so put in the words, I'll work it out. I'll do small steps. It's going to work. And that's where the change is going to happen, when you're still in a relaxed place. And the same thing is at night. Like we mentioned, hopefully you don't run into bed. You have time to relax, to take some time off, take it easy. And when things calm down, closing some lights, the day is over and you're in a relaxed state. That's another good time to change the thought from something that you're used to, a negative thought, to the positive thought. That's the great time to do it, right away in the morning or before you go to sleep, when you're relaxed, so that it can go into your subconscious. All of these ideas are subconscious. If you want to do in the middle of the day, you can always do some relaxation techniques, some meditation, just to get to a relaxed state in a relaxed place, like we discussed many times. And then you can change, actively make that change of thoughts and put in the positive thoughts about it, and it's going to help you make that change. So that's basically it. And once you learn the technique, you believe change is possible, you can start practicing it on small things, making that shift. Take something small in your life that you would like to change. It bothers you, you would like to see something different, feel different about it. Write down a piece of paper, what's the negative thought? And then come up with reframing that thought in a positive way. What could I do something positive? What can I say that's going to make me feel a little bit better? And then when you find yourself in a relaxed state, you start telling yourself affirmation. That's when affirmation could help. Say it in a positive way. And visualization. See yourself. See it working out. See yourself doing it. See yourself in a positive state. See yourself, get all your five senses. Visualize as if it's actually happening while you're in a relaxed state. See it happening. And after a few times, you'll start believing it. Your thought will change. Now, isn't that amazing? I think this is worth $1 million. Once we learn how this works and you practice, you pick it up, amazing. Again, this is for you, not for somebody else. This is for ourselves. We're the only one that can tell ourselves, let me see what I can do about this. Part of our process, wherever we are in the grief process, to understand where we are, and it's okay to deny. It's okay, because many times we have to. Then you start feeling those emotions, and that's also okay. And the main important piece is, one day you might think it worked, and the other day you're back to square one and you're thinking it's not working. Keep on going. It's okay to see yourself, I'm angry again, I'm upset again. That's part of the cycle. It's not like it's taken care of and I'm good. This is the cycle, goes up and down. I have ups and downs. Today is better, yesterday was worse. Let's see what tomorrow is going to look like, and slowly we realize what our thoughts are and we can change our thoughts. And that's what we're looking for, especially in today's days. To grow, looking to grow, whether it's from our challenges or looking to grow, taking something that we can, something positive in our life. And that's what Hashem wants from us. Talking about Elul, talking about Tshuva, talking about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. What does Hashem want from us? This is what He wants from us. Just basically taking care of ourselves and finding a little bit of positivity in our life about ourselves, about our journey, and bringing in some gratitude, thanking Hashem. What am I grateful for today? And you can start with small things. Baruch Hashem, my fingers work. Oh, big deal. Yes, it's a big deal. Baruch Hashem, it works. Baruch Hashem, I have a roof over my head. Thank you, Hashem. And you start saying these positive things and start feeling it. And small steps make the change. And slowly, everything will change. And from a challenge will become a growth. Again, slowly, we're not running anywhere. We're not trying to change it overnight. It does take time. So thank you very much for joining. Thank yourself for joining, for taking some time off for yourself to relax, hopefully. And if you're in a relaxed state, you can stay there. Give yourself the okay that you deserve. Take some time off. And I'll see you on Menachem next week, Wednesday. Again, questions, comments, you can send them to coachmenachem@gmail.com. All the recordings are available at menachembernfeld.com. Have a good night and a great week, and enjoy the process.